What if an ancient serpent cult has secretly shaped human history? Crazy, right? Well, join us down the rabbit hole as we explore the mind-bending myths surrounding the Brotherhood of the Snake. Can you handle the truth, or is it all just fiction? Hello, and welcome to our channel. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and mind-bending conspiracy theories out there, the legend of the Brotherhood of the Snake. Now, we know that might sound like something straight out of a Dan Brown novel, but stick with me here because this rabbit hole goes way, way back into ancient history. To really understand the Brotherhood myth, we need to travel all the way to ancient Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization itself. This is where it all started, with the Sumerians and their incredible mythology revolving around various powerful gods and goddesses. But there are two deities in particular that are absolutely crucial to the Brotherhood legend, Anu and Ea. Anu was basically the king of the gods, while Ea, also known as Enki, was his son and the god of wisdom, magic, and even trickery. This Enki guy is where things get really interesting. See, he was seen as a protector of humanity who would often go against the wishes of the other gods to help humans out. The ancient texts describe him as having this sort of reptilian or scaly appearance, which is a big reason why he got associated with serpents and snakes. According to the myths, Enki and his father Anu were the ones who founded something called the Brotherhood of the Snake. It was essentially this secret society that possessed all kinds of hidden, forbidden knowledge represented through serpent and snake symbolism. But here's the real kicker. Some people believe that Anu and Enki weren't just regular gods. They were actual alien beings who came down to Earth and started interfering with human affairs from the very beginning. Mind officially blown, right? A force for enlightenment. Now, in the original Sumerian myths, Enki, the serpent god, was often portrayed as a positive, benevolent force, a bringer of wisdom and enlightenment to humanity. His actions were seen as helping to free people from ignorance and oppression at the hands of the other, more controlling deities. This perspective actually ties in perfectly with one of the most famous stories of all time, the biblical tale of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. You know the one. The serpent tempts Eve with the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge, ultimately leading to their expulsion from paradise. Well, according to the Brotherhood of the Snake theory, that seductive serpent was actually representing none other than Enki himself, trying to share hidden wisdom and enlightenment with the first humans in defiance of the other gods' rules. Think about it. In those ancient Sumerian legends, Enki was always advocating for humanity's best interests and encouraging the spread of knowledge, even if it meant undermining the other deities' authority. So from that angle, his role in the Garden of Eden was actually a positive thing, an act of liberation meant to free Adam and Eve from their shackles of ignorance. Of course, the traditional biblical version portrays the serpent as this devious trickster who brings about humanity's downfall through temptation and sin. But when you look at it through the lens of the Brotherhood myth and Enki's role as a benevolent teacher, that fateful moment in Eden takes on a totally different, almost heroic meaning. It's a really fascinating inversion of one of the most famous stories ever told. Instead of being the villain, the serpent becomes a brave force fighting against oppression and ignorance, risking everything to share the precious gift of knowledge. The Garden of Eden parallels. Speaking of the Garden of Eden connection, there are a few other fascinating parallels and symbolic links between that famous biblical tale and the ancient Sumerian myths related to the Brotherhood of the Snake. For starters, let's look at the name Eden itself. In the ancient Sumerian language, it's thought to actually come from a combination of two words, E, meaning home, and Den or Din, meaning life or to live. So right from the name alone, we get this idea of Eden being a kind of idyllic paradise and home of abundance. According to the Brotherhood myth, that's exactly what the garden represented. A lush, almost utopian environment where the gods like Enki and Anu lived in luxury, while regular humans toiled away as servants or even slaves. The Sumerians had their own term for this perceived home of the gods. They called it Karsag, which roughly translates to the city of the gods. So you can kind of see how the biblical story of Eden and its iconic garden setting may have drawn some inspiration from these much older Mesopotamian legends. The linguistic ties between ancient languages and the name Adam offer fascinating insights. For instance, the name Adam is thought to stem from the Sumerian word Adamu, signifying the first men or humans. This term is also associated with the concept of red skin. Moreover, in the Sumerian context, Adam refers to animals, or the segment of humanity that the gods deemed as the lower class. This illustrates the multifaceted connotations and historical depth associated with the name. And then you've got the word Satan, which traces back to the Sumerian Satam, meaning administrator or overseer. Whether you choose to see the Garden of Eden story as a retelling of older Sumerian myths or not, there's no denying the profound symbolism and parallels between the two narratives. It's just further evidence of how these ancient legends and tales have seriously shaped religious and cultural traditions for thousands of years across the globe. Does it still exist today? Okay, so we've covered the ancient Sumerian origins of the Brotherhood tale, Enki's role as a positive serpent figure, and the deep symbolic connections to the Garden of Eden narrative. But here's the big question. Does this supposed secret Brotherhood society actually still exist today in some form? Now, we know what you might be thinking. Come on, there's no way some ancient snake cult has survived for literal millennia all the way to modern times, right? And on a surface level, I totally get the skepticism. That does admittedly sound pretty far-fetched and out there. But hey, according to some of the more enthusiastic believers in this whole Brotherhood myth, not only does it still exist in the present day, but it's been secretly carrying on its mission and passing down its hidden knowledge through various organizations and secret societies throughout history. We're talking groups like the Rosicrucians, the Freemasons, the Illuminati, you name it. The basic idea is that all of these mysterious brotherhoods and esoteric societies have actually been influenced or directly descended from the original Brotherhood of the Snake, keeping its ancient serpent-based wisdom alive across the centuries. Of course, I have to be upfront here. There's really no solid, undeniable proof that any of today's secret societies have a direct line back to some primordial Mesopotamian snake cult. A lot of the supposed evidence and symbolic connections that get pointed to by conspiracy theorists are admittedly pretty flimsy and speculative. But that hasn't stopped the true believers from making those claims and trying to connect the dots, so to speak. They'll see a snake or serpent symbol somewhere related to the Freemasons or some other group and immediately conclude, aha, yes, more proof of the Brotherhood's lingering influence. Is it compelling? Honestly, not super convincing to me personally, but we will say that the idea of certain esoteric ideas and forbidden knowledge being secretly passed down over thousands of years is undeniably fascinating to think about, even if the specifics of the Brotherhood myth don't fully add up. The eternal allure. Whether you personally buy into the Brotherhood of the Snake theory as a real historical phenomenon or not, we think we can all agree there's something undeniably compelling and thought-provoking about the core myth and the ideas behind it. I mean, it's got everything. Ancient advanced civilizations, alien beings posing as gods, a secret society guarding forbidden esoteric wisdom, serpent symbolism and iconography spanning cultures and millennia. It's like escapist adventure fiction, but rooted in real myths and legends from the cradle of human civilization itself. But beyond just the sheer entertainment value of the Brotherhood's far-out premise, I think part of the reason these types of theories resonate so deeply is because they tap into something primal and fundamental in the human experience. Like, at its core, the myth is all about this struggle between oppressive forces trying to control and limit humanity, represented by the more tyrannical gods of ancient legend, versus this liberating, enlightening energy, embodied by figures like the serpent Enki, fighting to free our minds and share hidden truths. It's basically the eternal battle between ignorance and knowledge, oppression and emancipation, playing out on an epic, cosmic scale. And those are themes that frankly never get old because they get at the heart of what it means to be human. Our endless curiosity, our drive to learn and grow, our desire to be free. So whether the particulars of ancient snake cults and alien gods passing down secret wisdom hold weight or not, the symbolic essence of the Brotherhood myth, like many other powerful legends and folk tales, continues to captivate the imagination precisely because it's rooted in such universal, resonant human truths and struggles.